Color Guard, attention. Scout salute. Those not in uniform, please place your right hand over your heart. Color Guard, forward march. Color Guard, halt. Forward face. Please recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in reciting the Scout Oath. On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. 2. Color Guard, post colors.
Performing our national anthem, Caleb Taylor from Troop 631.
Color Guard, retreat. Audience, please be seated.
Please welcome to the stage, Golden Eagle Luncheon Chair, Jenna Kelly.
Good afternoon. Scouts, thank you so much for providing our flag ceremony and national anthem. You did great. Let's give them all another round of applause. Isn't it wonderful to be together again? I don't know about many of y'all, but this is just an amazing sight to see all these tables and all this wonderful gathering. Probably for many of us, the first one of this size since the pandemic started, so thank you all for being here. We really appreciate your support, and for those of you that are joining virtually, welcome. My name is Jenna Kelly, and I am the Georgia Region President for Truist. I'm really honored to serve as this year's Golden Eagle Luncheon Chair. Our purpose at Truist is to inspire and build better lives and communities, and we wholeheartedly believe in our responsibility to do our part. We share that value with the Boy Scouts of America, and so thank you for allowing me the opportunity this year to serve and to hear the stories of leaders being developed through Scouting. During my time as chair, I've been reminded that Scouts are developed to lead the way. Through campouts, in community service, at school, and in their day-to-day lives, Scouts lead the way. They are trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. These core values have stood the test of time for over 110 years because these are the values that create leaders. The Scouting program is one that welcomes families and youth from all walks of life to become better people and serve their community. Because of that, I believe every child should have a chance to be a Scout. Because of every child should have the opportunity to become a leader. It's such an honor to be here this afternoon to kick off our program. Today we have the privilege to hear from many leaders in our community, including our keynote speaker, Chris Womack, Chairman, President, and CEO of Georgia Power. Looking around this room, I recognize we are all in very good company. Whether you grew up in Scouting, have watched your child grow into a leader through Scouting, or are just getting introduced to this impactful program, thank you for being with us today. When you watch a young person overcome adversity and accomplish leadership through Scouting, you develop a deep personal connection that draws you to our mission and purpose. We have all seen the difference that just one leader can have on a community. How about hundreds? Imagine with thousands. That's the future of our community, thousands of Scouts developing into the next generation of leaders who will transform our government, our corporations, our philanthropy, our education, and more. So thank you for taking the time to be with us today, and thank you for your support of the Atlanta Area Council of the Boy Scouts of America.
Please welcome to the stage Atlanta Area Council Board Member Jenny Chapin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a proud member of the Board of Directors for the Atlanta Area Council. I'm pinch hitting today for Audra Perez, who could not be with us. Professionally, I'm a partner with the law firm of Savell & Williams here in Atlanta. Please join me for a moment of prayer as you are accustomed. Almighty God, thank you for your presence this day as we come together to make our community a better place. Help us to not lose sight that our actions every day are so important for the upbringing of your kingdom. Bless and guide us with the ideals of Scouting. Help us to never lose sight of the words and meaning of the Scout Oath and Law. Bless our leaders, teachers, and our parents, and guide their hearts so that together we are able to instill leadership and citizenship into our youth. Lord, in your love for us, help us to always do our best. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your meal.
Please welcome to the stage Scout Executive and CEO of the Atlanta Area Council, Tracy Takau.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Very excited to see 1,000 friends today, and delighted that you chose today to invest your time in the youth of Atlanta. Everybody has a Scouting story, whether that Scouting story is decades long or perhaps just beginning today. That story for Scouting is about leadership. My motivation in the Boy Scouts of America is to take the incredible resources of Atlanta, beginning with our board of directors, our amazingly dedicated executive staff and professional staff, support staff, our volunteers who give and give and give within this wonderful fabric of families from all parts of Metro Atlanta, backed by our generous donors, to produce a program that changes lives and gives children a trajectory to live and fulfill the goals that we all have for our community's children. And I know that you feel the same way about our community's children as I do. And together we can help children from all families of Atlanta, all walks of life, all demographic spectrums, both sides of the railroad tracks, all income levels, be a part of the scouting program of the Atlanta Area Council. Be within an organization that lifts them up and lets them know that Atlanta believes in them and believes in their future. As Scout Executive of the Atlanta Area Council, I'd like to personally thank you for investing your hard-earned financial resources in the children of Atlanta, which is what we're asking you to do today, and to help them have the same quality of life that we enjoy and that our children enjoy. Each of you is instrumental in these efforts. So I would like to tell you that we serve many thousands of children, and the children that we build, and back to leadership, we want them to be leaders not only in scouting, but leaders in their clubs at school, leaders at their place of worship, and as they grow, leaders within their families, leaders within their place of employment, and in our community. We're all about leadership. I'd like to thank now a number of the people that make scouting all possible for us. I'm going to ask some people to stand, and if you would please stand, and we will applaud these incredible people. If you're a member of the Board of Directors of the Atlanta Area Council, would you please stand and receive our applause? Thank you, Board. It's an amazing group. It's a business powerhouse group of people, and I'm honored to serve this board. If you are a Cub Master, a Scout Master, a committee chair, a den leader, on a troop committee, a merit badge counselor, if you have at any point in your life served as an adult volunteer for the Boy Scouts of America, would you please stand and receive our applause? Wow. Look at this. Wow. Wow. Thank you. That is who you're investing in to lead the children of Atlanta. I have a special guest I would like to stand and recognize. The National Commissioner, one of the very top leadership positions in the National Boy Scouts of America, is with us today. It's an Atlantan. His name is Scott Sorrells. Scott, would you stand? Scott serves as the National Commissioner. Thank you, Scott. We're honored to have a very strong showing of elected and appointed officials today. And the screen should be showing, there should be 3 slides showing how fortunate we are to have some of Atlanta's leading civic statesmen with us today. So I would ask that all state representatives, state senators, city officials, county officials, and state officials, whether you're on the screen or if I didn't get you, would you all please stand and receive our applause? Scouting makes better citizens, and we appreciate each elected and appointed official for leading Georgia to be the greatest state in the country. The Atlanta Area Council is one of the largest and strongest councils in the BSA, and we recommit ourselves to leading Atlanta's children to reach their full potential. We could not do that without you. Thank you for helping the children of Atlanta to be their best and to be the leading citizens of our community, our state, and our nation. Thank you.
Hey, remember me? I'm Arnold John Andrade III. I was the Eagle Scout speaker at the 2015 Golden Eagle Luncheon. These days, I'm a district director for Atlanta Area Council Boy Scouts of America. When they offered me to speak at the luncheon, in my mind I'm thinking, 13, 14 people, invite some of my family. But to see, over 1,000 people in attendance, that was very impactful to me and life-changing.
The Golden Eagle Luncheon was a chance to harness the story and reflect on my own story of how scouting is truly connected to where I am today.
Scouting has given everyone that was watching something very special. And I wanted to make sure that through that speech, I could show them that scouting has also done that with me.
I go and I get to tell my professors, my friends, I raised $1.4 million along with a few other people.
Scouting is so important for me because of the social, survival, and life skills that it just simply teaches. It teaches you how to build and kindle relationships, as well as merit badges that teach you different, finite skills. Those things are what could really prepare you for the world.
My Scoutmaster was the most important thing to me during that entire scouting program. My Scoutmaster was my father figure growing up. I had coaches, had teachers, people from the community, but they never lasted as long as scouting did in my life. So from 2006 to 2012, I always had Mr. Eagle, my Scoutmaster. I am the man, and everything I am is because of scouting.
I really enjoy taking merit badges, one of them specifically public speaking. That public speaking merit badge really allowed me to learn how to use my voice, and that's what led me to eventually becoming the youngest black male to win Harvard's International Debate Tournament. That public speaking merit badge.
One of the places that I came from is scouting. Scouting taught me a certain level of reflection on how you impact the community you're in. Scouting is an excellent opportunity to be surrounded with like-minded individuals who have a core set of values, who can also hold you accountable and continue to teach you how to do that.
I live my life by the Scout oath and the Scout law, and to always be prepared. And one thing on my resume that always stood out was being an Eagle Scout. Those things made me very different, and it made me who I am. I am Arnold John Undivided III. I am the man. Thanks to Scout.
Please welcome to the stage 2022 Friends of Scouting Chair, Chris Waits.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Waits. I'm a proud Eagle Scout. I'm a member of the Atlanta Area Council Board of Directors, and I'm also the 2022 Friends of Scouting Chairman, campaign chair, and I also professionally work for Home Depot. I've been there for 31 years. I'm very, very proud of that, and grew up here in Atlanta. So the team asked me to say a couple words before I introduce our speaker about what scouting means to me and how it impacted my life. And I thought about all the different things, and the one thing that really stood out was the Scout motto, always be prepared. I thought about that consistently as a kid, going through school, helping me in the classroom, helping me in sports, preparing me for all the things that would be my first job at Home Depot, answering phones and doing returns. It also helped me throughout my career to develop into a strong leader, helped me to receive multiple promotions and now lead a large organization. I think most importantly, though, what it did, prepare me to be a good father. Be prepared with the finances, the safety, security of my family. I think that's the most important thing. It's had a tremendous impact on my life, scouting, and I just want to give back. That's why I'm on the board, and that's why I'm also very proud to introduce our next speaker, an excellent young man, Elliot Paisner. So Elliot is an Eagle Scout from Troop 129 in the Hightower Trail District. Elliot joined scouting as a Tiger Cub at the age of 7 and has served in a variety of roles at the troop level, including patrol leader, assistant senior patrol leader, and senior patrol leader. In addition, Elliot has served in leadership roles on the Burt Adams Scout Camp staff since 2018. In 2020, Elliot served as Lodge Chief of Iguatawadi Lodge in the Order of the Arrow. In this role, he led more than 800 youth and adults. Outside of scouting, Elliot is a student majoring in fire protection engineering at the University of Maryland in the A. James Clark School of Engineering. Elliot is also a third-generation volunteer firefighter. Following the completion of his studies, Elliot would like to enter the field of fire protection with an open heart and mind, providing fire protection to groups that oftentimes do not have a voice in this world, such as people with special needs. Elliot intends to give back to the fire protection community the same way that others in Scouting did for him. So, ladies and gentlemen, Elliot Paisner.
Thank you, Mr. Waits. I am here for a greater purpose today. I flew in from Maryland because Scouting means that much to me. I want to briefly share with you how, at the age of 9, I was formally diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. For those that don't know, that means I process, learn, and interpret life differently than most people. Regardless of that, 11 years later, I stand before you as an Eagle Scout, Vigil Honor member in the Order of the Arrow, Scouting's National Honor Society, and former Lodge Chief of the Egwatawadi Lodge of the Atlanta Area Council, leading more than 800 people. For the past 13 years, I have had the pleasure of being a member of the greatest organization that is known to mankind. I hope that my story will show you that no child should be deprived the opportunity to be a scout, because every child deserves a chance to be a leader. You see, Scouting is a gift like none other. Scouting operates without the bounds of an educational institution and operates through non-traditional learning. Moreover, Scouting is a place where lessons can be learned and where mistakes can be made in a safe and nurturing environment. Throughout the past 13 years, Scouting has been the one constant in my life. At the age of 7, I came home from school excited and told my parents I wanted to be a scout. I had no idea the impact that night would make on me or the opportunities of where it would take me. Scouting has taken me to the beautiful and sacred mountains of West Virginia twice. The first time as a participant of the High Adventure program at the Summit Bechtel Family Scout Reservation with 7 of my closest friends. The second time, I served as the senior patrol leader of Troop 3133 at the 2017 National Jamboree as we celebrated Scouting for 10 days with roughly 40,000 peers. Additionally, Scouting gave me the experience of my first job at Bird Adams Scout Camp in Covington, Georgia. As a person with autism, I view this world in a different set of eyes than that of a person who's neurotypical. I am wired in such a way that anxiety and stress in considerable amounts are a daily ritual of who I am. However, through a good number of people, many of which with Scouting backgrounds, I have learned to cope and make this occurrence much more manageable. I also struggle with hyperfixation, something I later found out was instead a gift. The ability to have a strong passion for where I dedicate my time and effort has been incredibly rewarding. Times have been tough. School at times seemed difficult and unbearable, yet I had Scouting. My parents have always been there for me throughout this entire journey. They have always been there with help, advice, encouragement, and the gift of supporting a child as they embarked on a path that may have been unclear at times. The consistency of strong role models who my parents trusted me to be under the guidance of is a gift I could imagine not having. Throughout all that, they had a support team of scout leaders that met and worked with me. Of all the leaders I learned from, 5 specifically stand out. The first I met the night I crossed over into Scouts BSA from Cub Scouts and is here with us today, Mr. Jim Toohey. Mr. Toohey supported my visions from day one, taking the time to listen thoughtfully, provide advice, and recognize and take advantage of my talents. The leadership presented to me by Jim Toohey allowed me to view that I was no different than any other youth of his, regardless of how different I may have thought I was. Jim always knew and believed there was a way to accomplish anything if you set your mind to it. This belief provided to me by Jim has given me the foundation to grow to who I am today, knowing I can accomplish anything that I set my mind to. Secondly, Mr. Sean Kwok, who in 2015 served as my Scoutmaster as I attended National Youth Leadership Training, a program to teach leadership skills to youth in Scouts BSA that focuses heavily on concepts of servant leadership and the core principles of setting goals to what you want to accomplish. Mr. Kwok received me as a scared, nervous, anxious young kid. But in a week's time, he and others helped me to realize and take advantage of my full potential. They helped me to view my autism as a strength and not a weakness. The third, fourth, and fifth people are members of the Order of the Arrow, Scouting's National Honor Society. They helped me develop my leadership skills, public speaking skills, confidence building, and more skills than I could list in this speech. Mr. Ryan Gerard, Mr. Fred Stemp, and Mrs. Pamela Peterson. All three of these people played a pivotal role in shaping me into who I am today through support, care, and understanding of who I am, and allowing me to see my strengths, the greatest of which is serving others. Mr. Gerard, the Lodge Advisor of Egotawa D, allowed me and pushed me to serve my fellow Scouts and made it his mission to make me the most successful that I could possibly be as Lodge Chief. Additionally, in a time of need, Fred Stemp came to me when I wanted to quit my fire service career and helped me to refocus, realize that the skills learned through scouting needed to prevail, and that I was more capable of providing life-saving care to people on the worst day of their lives than I may have thought I was. Finally, Mrs. Pamela Peterson helped me to look at all of my future goals and make them possible by breaking them into pieces. A role I later found out was part of what she does as an advocate for people and children with special needs. All five of these people allowed me to look at my autism not as a weakness, yet as a strength. Just because that 6-letter label exists, it does not mean that one is not destined for great things. I do not believe I would be up here today without the love, support, and care of my Bird Adams family. For the past 4 summers, I have had the incredible and humbling opportunity to work on staff at Bird Adams Scout Camp. As much as it changes the lives of the campers, it has also truly changed my own life as a member of the staff. Camp became my happy place and where I experienced many firsts. It's where I enjoyed my first Mountain Dew, which we now know is a huge no for me. My first time feeling like an adult by doing something as simple as my own laundry. My first time being able to leave my shell and be the person I wanted to be. I've been guided and mentored by many and created the most amazing and fruitful friendships with my family that I created at Bird Adams Scout Camp. I have lived, slept, ate, cried with, and supported the most amazing and caring groups of people I have ever known. It is the most humbling experience to know that you impacted the lives of others. For me, that one phone call that summed it all up to me came in September this year. As I received the news that a very young and special young lady had earned the rank of Eagle Scout, Ms. Audrey Hardage, my unofficial younger sister, was very excited to call me and share in the joyous celebration. And as she will forever argue with me, is the fact that I had a profound impact on her with this accomplishment. As I begin to close out this story, I hope that you see through these stories how scouting has impacted me for the past 13 years of my life. One of the greatest journeys has been seeing the impact of basic scout skills applying to the real world. As I stated earlier, I decided to pursue a degree in fire protection engineering, and with that degree, volunteer at the local fire station in Maryland. When I moved into the station, The knowledge of how to tie knots, cook, orient a map, communicate effectively, all skills that I had learned in scouting came to full fruition. I use them daily while serving as a first responder in Maryland. As I close today, I would like to share with you a quote by Frederick Douglass that I read outside a memorial for him at the University of Maryland. I think this quote has a deeper and more significant meaning, and one that guided me as I wrote this speech. In a composite nation like ours, as before the law, there should be no rich, no poor, no high, no low, no white, no black, but common country, common citizenship, equal rights, and a common destiny. For me, for all of us, that means it does not matter a scout's background or life outside of scouting. There is a place for every young person in scouting because every child deserves the chance to become a leader. Thank you for allowing me to share my story and words with you today. And thank you for supporting scouting with your time, with your financial resources, and with your heart. It will forever be the greatest gift I have ever received from my parents and from you, my community. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage John Bridges, Council President-elect.
Incredible. Good afternoon. My name is John Bridges, and I'm a proud Eagle Scout. I'm also on the board of the Atlanta Area Council of Boy Scouts, and I'm excited to serve as the board president-elect of the Atlanta Area Council. Professionally, I serve as the Chief Marketing Officer for Chick-fil-A. Elliot, you did an incredible job. Those words were powerful and inspiring. Scouts like you are the reason that scouting exists. I agree with you. Every young person should have the chance to develop as a leader. That's what we're about, helping leaders become the best they can be. Scouting was the beginning of my leadership development journey. 3 days after my 14th birthday, my father was killed in a tragic auto accident. And all of a sudden, my life changed like I never expected it. I felt I had no option but to grow up and take responsibility for my life. I was already involved in scouting. It was a good program, but it took on new significance based on this event. I was going to need to be strong, going to need to have strong mentorship and male influence in my life. I also had a new motivation because my father, who was a life scout, often told my brother and me that we should make Eagle. We had to make Eagle. So we knew we had to do that for him. Thankfully, we were part of an incredible troop. It was led by Scoutmaster Ted Vinson, his wife Donna, and they took an interest in me and made a big difference. I would not have made Eagle Scout without Ted and Donna's encouragement and sometimes forceful support. I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege to recognize Ted. He's here at table M3. Ted, if you would stand, let us recognize you. Thank you, Ted, and thank you, Donna. My scouting experience was very formative in my life. It taught me skills I still use today, every day. So giving back to scouting for me is very natural. It's a privilege. And I'm committed to giving back to scouting however I can, whether it's financially, or through leadership skills, or through connections, or through simply encouraging the staff. So I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. What does scouting mean to you? And what does the world need from scouting? I hope you can see the promise of what we're trying to do here. And I hope you'll join us in making a significant financial contribution. Today's luncheon is called the Golden Eagle Luncheon. It's to highlight the Golden Eagle Donor Society, members who give at least $1,000 to the annual Friends of Scouting Fund. Many of you are already Golden Eagle donors. In fact, we have over 800 Golden Eagles in the Atlanta area. Thank you to all those Golden Eagles that are here today. As we kick off Friends of Scouting for 2022, I hope that everyone in this room will consider being part of the Golden Eagle Society. At this time, I would like for the table host to present you with the personal pledge cards that are at your tables. They're in envelopes. If you guys would take a moment to hand those out. On each card, you're going to see a name and address if you were registered. And you also see a penciled-in, personalized request amount. It's the amount that we would like for you to consider donating today. Our goal is to provide a first-class program to every youth in the metro area. And we're striving for 100% participation in this campaign. Now, just in case you're offended that the amount is too low on your card, feel free to scratch it out and put a bigger amount on there. We won't be offended by that at all. So please take a look at your pledge card. Also look at the mailing address, look at your contact information, email, and so forth, and make sure it's correct. And realize this is a pledge for the 2022 campaign. So if you want to give this year, you certainly can and get the tax credit from this year, but this is a commitment for next year's campaign. As you fill out your pledge cards, I want to personally thank the members of our President's Circle who are listed on the screen. These donors contribute at least $10,000 to the Friends of Scouting, and we thank you so much for your leadership gift. We also welcome any new donors to consider joining the President's Circle today. I also want to recognize the Founders Circle. The Founders Circle is listed here on the screen. That's for folks that have given $25,000 or more to the Friends of Scouting campaign. So when you've completed your pledge card, please put it back in the envelope and pass it back to your table host. Table host will hold up the cards. But I'm going to give you a few minutes to do this as I do my card. Just take time to fill out your card and get ready to hand it in. I want to thank you all for your attendance. Thank you all for your support. And as you continue to finish your pledge cards, take a moment to watch this video about the difference that Scouting has made in Metro Atlanta through a program called Scoutreach. Thank you.
Philmont's definitely a mind game.
The most physical and mentally demanding thing they're ever going to do.
Because it got cold, it was thundering, lightning, hailing.
Free falling.
Whoa! It was awesome, man.
The Atlanta Area Council through Scoutreach has been funding trips to high adventure bases for many years. This past year, we sent 6 adult leaders and 14 youth to Philmont. Anybody that has been to Philmont will tell you that it's an experience that they never forget. It's the pinnacle for scouting.
They get a great opportunity to be challenged, to have fun, to overcome adversity, to meet other scouts.
I felt very excited when I got to Philmont because it was a very new experience. I wasn't sure how it would be like hiking through the New Mexico mountains.
The youth do all the work themselves. I mean, the youth are carrying 50, 60-pound backpacks. They're cooking, they're cleaning, they're setting up tent.
There's definitely the physical aspect of it, but it's definitely one of the things where if you don't think you can do it, you need to tell yourself you can to be able to get through that.
Some trails, just going uphill with 30, 40 pounds on your back, it's definitely super tough.
We're all from different troops, and we came together to make a crew.
They're coming with different perspectives, and those different perspectives lends towards giving strengths when other people have weaknesses.
If you have 10 individual people that are not working together, it's going to be a terrible time at Philmont. I mean, it's not going to work. You really have to gel quickly.
I've never seen a group of youth bond as quick as they did.
We've been through some very difficult things, some challenging things that I don't think we could have done by ourselves.
And they learn a lot about what they can do, what they can and sometimes endure.
I would definitely say the rain was the most challenging thing.
I was very nervous and uncomfortable with going through our first water crossing.
It was rushing water coming down a mountain. Everybody was like, what are we going to do?
There's no way to go around it. We just have to go through it.
So I came up with the idea of using our bareback rope. We were working as a team throwing ropes across the river and each other across, which is one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life.
Our guide said after we got to camp that was the hardest thing that he had ever done at Philmont. So we felt that, okay, if we can do this, we can make it through the rest.
The thing that you really want to have is Scouts stepping up and assuming leadership roles. Leadership quality isn't just ordering people around, it's also helping people.
Just help somebody out and take some of the weight off their back if they just struggling at the moment.
To see them at their breaking point, kids were cold, they were wet, they were tired, they were frustrated, they were scared, and we had, a couple that just, they stepped up and took care of them, and we had the big pep talk the next morning, and we left on a high note, even when we were at our very lowest.
They're cheering you on, you're cheering them on. It's a great experience to know that somebody's there to have your back when the going gets tough.
All those on the trip, all the expenses were paid by Scoutreach.
All because of someone else paying it forward.
Certainly, many of the scouts that we serve through Scoutreach would never make it to a high adventure base.
We couldn't afford to do that on our own. One child going to Philmont would not have been nowhere in our budget.
We see our donors part of the crew.
And so I kind of think of our donors that way, how it relates to the way a crew operates at a high adventure base as a team. Their common goal, their common purpose is to make sure that scouting is alive and well in Atlanta.
I want you to be part of that crew. I want you to be part of the team and be one of the reasons why we are able to continue these programs and having these kids experience the greatest scouting event of their lives.
Please welcome to the stage Council VP of Scoutreach, Michael DeBose.
Wow, that video is amazing, isn't it? To watch these young men and women have this life-changing experience in New Mexico because of the generosity of all of our donors and dedication of our volunteer leaders is truly amazing. It is so rewarding to see and also to have our young people have these experiences in their life. There are more young people out there that need our help, and I want to thank all of you for being here today to help us to do our part in ensuring that happens. My name is Michael DeBose, and I'm a proud Eagle Scout, God and Country awardee, as well as a Whitney M. Young awardee, and I serve on the executive committee of the Atlanta Area Council as the Vice President of Scoutreach and Multicultural Markets. Professionally, I'm the President of Thermo Fisher Scientific, Inc. And these pages are stuck together. Scouting made me a leader by teaching me to dream big and take on challenges, which I've done all of my life. Scouting taught me to see the opportunities in all situations, especially in those where there were people in need. And because in the end, we as Scouts are servant leaders. Scouting helped me, and I love this quote by Robert Kennedy, said, "Dream of things that never were and ask why not." You truly don't realize the impact a person, a program, or a community may have until you hear stories like what we have heard today, and until you ask why not. So for that, I say thank you to all of the dreamers in this room asking, why not? When it comes to supporting the youth in our community. Today, more than any time in the history of our country, our young people need our leadership, our support, and our encouragement. This luncheon would not be possible without the support of our corporate sponsors, and I certainly want to take a moment and acknowledge them. Thank you to our community sponsor, the Truist Foundation. Thank you to our title sponsor, Chick-fil-A. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Graphic Packaging International and Print Pack. Thank you to our Pace Center sponsor, the Coca-Cola Company and Genuine Parts Company. And finally, thank you to all of our distinguished program sponsors, which can be found in your program today. Now I have the pleasure of introducing a great man and a leader in our community, our keynote speaker, Chris Womack. Chris was named President, Chairman, and CEO of Georgia Power earlier this year. He leads Georgia Power in serving over 2.6 million customers across the state. The company is the largest subsidiary of the Southern Company, one of the nation's leading energy firms. Prior to his current role, Chris served as Executive Vice President and President of External Affairs for Southern Company, where he led the overall external positioning and branding efforts, including the company's public policy strategies, and oversaw the company's governmental and regulatory affairs, corporate communication initiatives, and other external and strategic business engagements. A native of Greenville, Alabama, Chris joined the Southern Company in 1988 and has held several leadership positions within the Southern Company and its subsidiaries. Prior to joining the Southern Company, Chris worked on Capitol Hill for the U.S. House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. He served as a legislative aide for former Congressman Leon Panetta and as staff director for the Subcommittee on Personnel and Police for the Committee on House Administration. Chris is a member of the Board of Directors of Essential Utilities as well as Invesco. He currently chairs the board of the Eastlake Foundation and the chair of the board for the Alliance to Save Energy. He's a bad boy. He has numerous awards that he's received, including the Boy Scouts of America Whitney M. Young Award for Public Service and the Boy Scouts of America Silver Beaver Award and the National Award of Merit from Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. He's a member of the Leadership Atlanta class of 2000 and the Leadership Birmingham class of 1990. Chris holds a bachelor's degree from Western Michigan University, a master's degree from the American University. He completed his Stanford Executive Program in 2001 and is currently pursuing his doctoral degree in political science at Clark Atlanta University. He's been a long supporter of Scouting. He is a Scout. Please join me in welcoming Chris Womack to the stage.
Mike, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. It would made my mother very proud, and it was just as I wrote it. So hey guys, thank you all for being here today. I mean, it's a Friday afternoon. There are a lot of other things you could be doing, not golf, of course, because it's raining outside, but there are a lot of other things you could be doing. So thank you very much for spending time with us today to express and demonstrate your support for Scouting. I am so honored to be here to speak at the Golden Eagle Luncheon. I mean, this is a tremendous honor. There have been a lot of others. I know my boss, Tom Fanning. I mean, there have been many wonderful, important people that have stood on this stage to give these remarks at the Golden Eagle Luncheon. This is a big deal. And so, again, thank you for being here. But Tracy and others, thank you so very much for honoring me by having me the opportunity to take this stage. I'm also excited to be here on behalf of my colleagues and friends and people who I get to work with on a daily basis at Georgia Power and Southern Company. Both of those companies have been tremendous supporters of Scouting. You know, we have a motto that our founder established for us back in the early 1900s of being a citizen wherever we serve. And through that motto, we strive to make a difference. We strive very hard to make a difference and make our communities better because we live and we work there. Our involvement with the Scouts is driven by that charge to make a difference in our communities because we believe in the impact the Boy Scouts of America is having and can have on the lives of millions and millions of young people. So we want to make sure that we are being good citizens whenever and wherever we can. I mean, as I stand here, I think about one of our former chairmen and CEOs of Southern Company, Alan Franklin. I mean, he was a passionate outdoors person, also very, very smart and very, very driven. And he was committed to the Boy Scouts. And one of his passions was the new headquarters for the Atlanta Area Council that was established in 2004. So scouting is very, very foundational and very fundamental to our business. And I'd have to tell you, and personally as a young kid, the Boy Scouts left an impression on me in my life, and I'm proud to stand here representing these two great companies, and we've got a couple of tables of my colleagues, so I'm proud to stand here and to applaud the work that we have done. While we admire the great work of this organization, we know that some of us may ask, in this day and time, because of all that's going on and all the controversies and all the things that we have to do, is scouting still relevant? You know, is scouting the thing that it once was that we made that was so critical to us? I know for me and my upbringing, is scouting still relevant? You know, and as I look back over my life and I think about my time growing up in Greenville, Alabama, in South Alabama, starting as a Cub Scout and later as a Boy Scout, I think about the skills I learned. I think about the skills and the character it helped me build. And for me, I know the answer to that question is an unequivocal yes. The relevance and the significance and the meaning of scouting, I think, is just as important today as it was in the early 1900s at its founding. Now, little did I know at the time, as I was being a Cub Scout, as I was being a Boy Scout, as I was hanging out with my friends and in my troop, that learning wilderness skills like how to camp, you know, how to hike, how to traverse the terrain, how to follow a map, that what I was really doing was building skills, learning how to be a good teammate, learning about community and building confidence in myself. The Scouts have been one piece of my journey to where I am today, but sincerely, I believe the impact it had on me has had just as similar impact on many, many others. The Scout Law guides young men and women to be trustworthy, to be loyal, to be helpful, to be friendly, to be courteous, to be kind, to be obedient, to be cheerful, to be thrifty, to be brave, to be clean, and to be reverent. All similar to the values we ask of our employees at our company to uphold every day. These are values that are critical to this country today to help bridge the political divide and bring people and communities together so we can continue to advance and prosper and be better. At Georgia Power, to best serve our customers, we need to be all of those things in every aspect. Our values at Southern Company and those things that guide us at Southern Company at Georgia Power are safety first, unquestionable trust, superior performance, and total commitment. It is easy to see how the Scott Law and all it stands for aligns with what we stand for as a company, what we expect of our team, what we need more in our communities, and also what we need more in our country. Young people have been exposed to scouting, are building a solid base and a solid foundation to be successful as entrepreneurs, to be good employees in companies, and have careers across a variety of industries all across the world. That's how I know scouting, and that's what I know scouting is about, so much more than just tying a knot. Yeah, tying a knot is very fun, and I still love tying knots today and the survival skills. But it also teaches independence. It provides confidence, and it builds an incredible compassion that you saw in Elliot earlier today. It is shaping the character of the next generation of leaders in our country, and we must, as you fill that card out, we must continue to support scouting in all the ways that we can. I know that the theme today of today's luncheon is every child deserves a chance to be a leader. And you say, what an incredible theme for a luncheon as we talk so much about leadership today. Something we often say at our company is that leadership, it's not about title. It's not about who's the CEO. It's about leading from wherever you are in your life, big or small, young or old, frontline or CEO. Sometimes the smallest voice or the smallest act of kindness can have the biggest impact or start a movement. John Quincy Adams, our sixth president, said it best. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. The Scouts are giving our children that opportunity right now, today, as we are living in these incredible times. The past 2 years have been challenging for a lot of us, things that were so unexpected and things that we didn't know what to deal with. I mean, the COVID-19 pandemic has and continues to disrupt our day-to-day lives and has forced us to change so many of our behaviors, challenged us and required us to change our lifestyles, to change our environments, the way we work, the way we live. But it's during these times of adversity that strong leaders shine. They maintain a sense of calmness. They remain flexible. They're adaptable. They provide clear and solid directions. You know, one thing that we know for certain always, it's constant. There's always going to be change. It is happening all around us. But with the support of the Scouts, kids are learning to be resilient and to not be afraid of change, but to embrace it and flourish under a changing environment, to be part of the change and to not shy away from doing the right thing, no matter how unpopular it might be. We are all better because of our children. We're all better because of our grandchildren. Because guess what? They demand us to be better. They put us on a pedestal and challenge us to be part of that shining city on the hill. They elevate us to higher status. They demand that of us because organizations like the Scouts are teaching them that, teaching them what's right, teaching them to persevere and opening them to what's possible. I believe it's really important also as we think about where we are to acknowledge the history of an organization, to understand where it's been, but also where it may be going. The space in between one's beginning and the present is where the growth and the learning happens. It is where we constantly refine who we are, what we stand for, and what difference we are making in the world. The Boy Scouts, formed in 1910, shortly after our company was started in 1902. Since that time, our society, our company, and this organization, we've endured a lot. We've endured wars. We've endured discrimination. We've endured segregation. We've seen economic depression. We've witnessed social unrest, and some of us participated in it. We've seen periods of peace. We've seen periods of abundance and so much more. At one point, many things we did as a country were divided along racial lines, including Scouting. Now, while this organization did not at a national level, it didn't endorse discrimination or segregation, troops across the country struggled for decades with integration. Now, as we have moved through time and we look at where we are in modern times and in present times, you can visit the Boy Scouts website and read about their commitment to diversity, their commitment to equity, and their commitment to inclusion, their commitment to be a shining example of the future and how the world should be. A commitment to promote a culture where each youth, each volunteer, and each employee feels a real true sense of belonging. And that's all we want. We want to belong. And that commitment extends into our neighborhoods, where through Scoutreach, where the Scouts work to build communities, where every person feels respected and valued. We're here today because so many within fought for all young people of every race, every ethnicity, and more to have a place. Because of each scout, because of each scout troop, and because of each troop leader willing to open their arms in acceptance and fight for equality, the Boy Scouts of America troops across every state welcome all families of all backgrounds and has instilled the values of Scout Oath and Scout Law in so many more young people, preparing them to make a good ethical and moral choices over their lifetime. In fact, Scouts can earn a Citizenship in Society merit badge, a badge focused on expanding one's understanding of diversity, equity, inclusion, and equitable leadership. The Scouts are very literally encouraging young men and women to learn about this topic that so many adults sometimes struggle with. And they're rewarding them for it. This is how an organization impacts the future. This is how an organization makes a difference, by laying the groundwork in our kids now. The Scouts have been preparing our future leaders to do the right thing for more than a century. And their focus on developing ethical and inclusive leaders, even as they have had to grow themselves as an overall organization, is something we all should be very extremely proud of. They are leading by example. That is how the Scouts are giving every child a chance to be a leader in this great, diverse country in which we live. That is something that never loses its relevance. For those of you in this room who have stood for equality in your own communities, let me pause to say thank you and don't stop now. We have more work to do. It's more important now than ever that we continue that growth and continue that conversation. I know these conversations are not always easy, and we talk about this inside of our company. How do we get comfortable with having very difficult, uncomfortable conversations? But as long as we have good, strong organizations like the Scouts, leading and embracing how powerful diversity, equity, and inclusion is, we are raising a generation right now that will be equipped to continue the fight, will be full of love for their neighbor, will expect more from their companies, and will demand our communities to be equal. We're giving them the tools to lead our country into the future. As Teddy Roosevelt, our 26th president, said, if we are to be really great people, we must strive in good faith to play a great part in the world. We cannot avoid meeting great issues. All that we can determine for ourselves is whether we shall meet them well or ill. The Scouts founders could have never imagined that the principles and values they hoped to instill in young men and women in 1910 would still be just as important and relevant today. They have truly stood the test of time. So if someone asks you if Scouting is relevant, simply ask them of being trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent are still relevant. I think I know the answer to that question. I personally don't think you can go wrong with teaching a child those values. Those traits never go out of style. With that, let me end on simply saying, thank you to each one of you, and thank you to every person in this room that has supported the Scouting movement. Thank you from this young Alabama kid who learned so much about himself by being a part of Scouting. And thank you as a company leader who sees the product of the Scouts' efforts in actions throughout our communities each and every day. Good companies and good communities need good leaders. I am proud that my story includes Scouting, and I am so proud I can help lend my voice in continuing to support Scouting in any way that I can. Thank you again for having me today. I look forward to seeing the next 100 years of impact the Boy Scouts of America would have. Thank you very much.
Please welcome to the stage Council Board President Mike Doss.
Hi, friends. Really my privilege to be able to close out our ceremony today. I'm Mike Doss, and I serve as the president of the volunteer board of directors of the Atlanta Area Council. I'm also an Eagle Scout. And when I'm not working for Tracy, my other job is I'm president and CEO of Graphic Packaging here in town. Chris, before you get too far away, first off, thank you for that inspirational message. That was just great. We actually have a camper ship that we want to name in the name of a scout who otherwise wouldn't be able to go to summer camp in your name for your generosity today and giving of your time and just a wonderful message. And we're really lucky to have someone of your leadership capabilities here in Atlanta, and I've been looking forward to meeting Chris because it turns out we've got a connection. We both actually did our undergraduate degrees at Western Michigan University, and what a privilege to sit on the same stage together here today, Chris, so thank you very much. Fantastic. I'm going to go off script for a minute here, which always gets Tracy a little nervous, but I don't know if you noticed when you walked in during the color guard ceremony, but the gentleman, a young man who led the color guard brigade, actually had 2 merit badge slashes on. Now, I've been around scouting my whole life. I've never seen that before. So as everybody was being prepared and getting ready for the event today, going through the rehearsal before the rest of you showed up, I had an opportunity to meet Amcor, and I think he's sitting right over there. Would you stand up for me, please? He doesn't know I'm going to do this, so I was so impressed. So let me tell you a little bit about what those 2 slashes really mean. So to make Eagle Scout, it's 23 merit badges. That's what Tracy and I got. Let's call that par for you golfers out there. It's a 72, all right? Amcor has a perfect score. He's got 136 merit badges on those 2 slashes. And to put that in golf terms, I'd say that's about an 18. So really well done. I'm really impressed. And again, that just shows, the kind of accomplishment we have. The other thing you should know, as Chris said, scouting's been around since 1910. There's maybe 500 scouts in the history of Boy Scouts of America that have done that. So well done, and just an excellent, job. As we get to the end of the program, as we all know, it always takes just dedication and leadership to pull something like this together. And I'd like to call out Jenna Kelly on the stage here to join me for a minute. Jenna chaired this luncheon this year, and it takes an incredible amount of time and effort. And anybody who knows Jenna personally, like I know her, you're not surprised. But thank you so much. And we also, Jenna, have a camper ship in your name for a camper that'll be able to go to camp who otherwise wouldn't do. So thank you so much for all you do. And you know, the table host concept that they use here for this luncheon is really, tried and true, and so impressive for me coming from outside of Atlanta about 10 years ago and watching how Tracy and his team do it. Everybody knows what the ask is here, and we're raising money, but it really takes the table host to go out and recruit those friends of scouting, get them here, and get the pledge cards in. So I'd like to ask all the table hosts to stand up real quickly, and let's give them a round of applause. We really appreciate all you do, and thanks again for that. This banquet doesn't happen if we don't have, the better part of 1,000 people show up. And isn't it nice to be back in person again? I was mentioning to Tracy, you get in the habit of going to all these lunches, and before COVID, it was, another luncheon. And now we're so excited to go back and be with people again. So it's just great here. Today was wonderful, and thanks, Tracy, to you and your team for pulling together such a great event. Okay, now, the moment we've all been waiting for. They've been tallying here, and they've been pulling it all together. Was still scrolling through when I walked out here, so let's see what we have here. That's fantastic. So they just handed me an iPad that says $1.97 million that we raised. Tracy, I think it's safe to say the Golden Eagle Luncheon is back. Good. Great job. Good job. And thank you for all of you for giving your financial support. We've seen some really neat videos today and heard some great talks from a number of the speakers that we had. And there's a theme through each one of them, and that theme is leadership. You heard Tracy mention it. You heard Chris talk about it. It's just something that is boiled and embedded in the Scout way. And every child deserves that opportunity. And what you have done and what you will do going forward really enables that to occur as it helps us be able to. How about that? So just a quick in here. We have a very generous benefactor who is going to make the difference. We're at an even $2 million. Ladies and gentlemen, we really appreciate you showing up here today. Thanks for all you do for Scouting. You make it possible to put the programming on that we're able to do for our Atlanta area youth, and you can rest assured that Tracy and his team punch above their weight, and they will get $1.10 for every dollar that we put into the programming. I wish all of you a happy holiday season. Drive home safely, and thanks again for coming today.